Welcome back, everyone, to round number 4 of the 2019 Race Factor Gaming Grand Prix Series. It is the RFGP of Portugal from Agueda, and we are here watching the MX1 boys spin a little bit of a parade lap as race number 1 is about to get lined up. And before they do, let's take a quick glance at our championship standings if we can. Actually, here's our qualifying times. LeClair tops the sheets again, 2 seconds clear of Prokop, Holm, Mitchell, and Haley. But again, our standings is where we want to pay attention to. Holm, 26 points ahead of LeClair in the standings. And it's really going to be whether or not he can manage it at this point, because obviously LeClair looks awfully fast here tonight. And that may be an interesting dynamic to watch. Jack Haley only 6 points behind LeClair. Blakely a distant 23 back of LeClair. But they're all chasing Adam Holm here. We're going to see whether or not Holm comes out firing, or does he already go in conservative mode. It is almost the halfway point of the series, but I do believe math checks out that LeClair could win out from here and still win the title, regardless of what Holm does. So I don't think Holm is going to lay over whatsoever. Here's your points leader hanging out at the top of the hill. Alrighty. Gonna get loaded in here in just a quick second, and I'm gonna try to very quickly pick a versus PC one to watch. Let's go Ian Holm here for whip style this time. Looks like he's in a pretty far outside gate here, so it might make things interesting. Either way, this is going to be one interesting race to watch. It is the RFGP of Portugal, the MX1 class, underway. Gate is down. Land rush into that first corner. LeClair, Kohenauer going at it, but I think Haley from the outside is going to get it. Kohenauer goes down. KR Money dropped in a tier 1 sub, gifted to Nightbot. So Nightbot now subscribed. Gotta love it. Thank you, KR Money, again, dude. You are the freaking man with these gifted subs. All right, so settling it down here early on, we got Jack Haley leading from Zach Dupuis. Kyle Howard just handed over second and is trying to hold on to third, although Will Whiteley around the outside is going to gather it up. Oh, and leader down. Haley goes down, and Dupuis gets into him, so Whiteley goes third to first. Just like that. New leader in Portugal. Howard settles in right behind him. Adam Holm is going to get into second, actually, as Howard goes to the lead. Our race leader just went down, and there goes Holm for the lead. Well, he had it momentarily, but around the outside goes Prokop. So in the last 5 corners, the lead has changed 5 times. And now Prokop on the 38 is out front. Holm, Dupuis, Howard, Smith. Looks like Smith just got around Howard. Then our versus PC one to watch Ian Holm. Bring in Ash Deering on the 72. 51 of Simo's also right there. No sign of LeClair early on. How about it for Zach Prokop, though? Him and Adam Holm tying at the first GP of the year. So Holm going to try to settle in and go after him. Maybe take the lead away early. LeClair checks in lap number 1 in P8. Looks like Dupuis just went down in the background. He did. He's off the bike. He is going to get going just as LeClair comes through with Simos. Simos gets into him, and suddenly Dupuis outside of the top 10. So LeClair up to 7th. He is going to try to chase down Kyle Howard just a little bit up the road. And a tight little battle up ahead of him between Deering and Ian Holm. 784 rider looking down the inside. Track's still very fresh, so lines haven't developed just yet. Up to the top of the hill. And back down to this big uphill triple, causing a lot of problems for the 250 guys. Oh, and causing a big problem right there for Ash Deering, who just was able to corral it together. But Holm might have a run on him up to the top. inside move. Oh, and he slides out, and then they get together. Oh my goodness. Talk about blowing it. Ian Holm had the pass made, and then knifes back underneath, and then yard sails right in front of Deering. Deering fortunately does not fall off the bike, so he still gets up just ahead of Caden Speck here, but he did lose a spot to LeClair crucially, so a couple more spots gained for the number 1 machine. How about Sean Smith running in 3rd right now for Viroc Co., the 222 machine. Kind of new on the scene this year. We haven't seen him run up front hardly at all, but we have seen him get mixed in for some points already in the GP series. And with a good start, this is going to be cool to see whether or not he hangs with the front runners. Looks strong so far, though. Hasn't let 2 leaders get too far away. Adam Holm and Zach Prokop, who are still locked together. Take a look at the lap times, 52.1, 51.3 out of Prokop. So that would be fastest lap unless LeClair has a better. No, he does not. So again, just like watching that 250 race from before, you can see how much smoother the track is right at the beginning of the race. Some of these lines that these guys are taking, you'll see how much deeper they get as the race develops, and Prokop goes down, tucks the front wheel on entry, and ironically enough, he crashes in the Twitch.tv ATOM banners as the man whose those banners are for takes over the race lead from him. Adam Holm to the front. Sean Smith up to 2nd, and LeClair is in 3rd, so already we're setting ourselves up for a potential Holm v. LeClair as LeClair tries to run down the 222 machine. LeClair always crafty, taking different lines, inside lines, usually builds his suspension as such that he can do some different things, and they tend to work, like going far inside right there, although Sean Smith did make a mockery of the outside, made a couple mistakes. How about it out of the 222 machine, fighting back, laying over for nobody, including someone of LeClair's caliber. Multi-time EU champion, former world champion, 2-time outdoor North American national champion, and 2018 Supercross champion LeClair, trying to pass Sean Smith down the inside for 2nd. Smith fighting back. Oh, but he goes down. Pushing a little too hard there. Let's see, does he lose any more positions than 3rd? He did, so he goes back to 5th, but then Deering crashes right after that, so back into 4th. And Deering's going to get up right behind Chase Blakely and Eduardo Simo. Oh no, that's Andrade on the 74. So Simo's, his teammate, must have gone backwards a little bit. All right, Holm, LeClair, 1 and 2. Take a look at lap times last time by. 51.2 from LeClair, 51.8 from Holm. So checking in at similar lap times. But we all know LeClair, he was 2 seconds faster than anybody else in qualifying. And if there's one person you want to count on for putting down fastest lap of the race, it's usually this man that we're on board with right here. So let's take a look what lines he's doing early in the race. Anything unique? I know that last time through, not this corner, but the very next one, he's been going inside while pretty much everybody, including the 450 class as far as we've seen, go outside at the top of the hill. But here he is, tucks inside, uses his inside rut. Stays a little bit lower on exit, I think that helps. But particularly his setup, he's always kind of designed for those like low growly engine revs, pulls like no other. Look at out of that corner, tripling in, tripling again, and then doubling to the inside. Nobody is tripling through those rollers but this guy right here. Got it down to about 6 seconds, a little under 6 seconds now. Curious to see this lap time. This is gonna be the first time he's been completely in clear air with nobody in front of him. So checks up, hops across the inside. All right, take a look at lap times now. 49.3 to a 52 flat, so there you go, folks. Almost 3 seconds faster. That lap alone got the gap down to 5.7 seconds. Dropping in off the top and giving chase to the points leader. I feel like a broken record talking about it, but can always emphasize that there is no love lost between these two. The title fight between them that came down to the very, very last corner in outdoors last year is going to be, I'm sure, talked about for a long time. And a lot of altercations in Supercross this year as well. Didn't help. Seems like it's somewhat stifled, though. Most of the races that they've done against each other this GP season have been pretty friendly. Nothing like a dive bomb pass for the lead or anything crazy just yet. But I suppose it's still early in the championship. And LeClair might be, dare I say, a little bit desperate at this point, given that his points gap is so far down on Holm so early in the championship. And it's not like Holm has just been kind of lucky and LeClair's had some mistakes. I will say LeClair DNFing the first race of the year didn't help, but last week we saw Holm basically straight up beat LeClair too, so kind of a even match really between them. Holm consistent, steady, obviously very fast, but makes a lot less mistakes than LeClair, who usually kind of hits a cliff in this halfway point of the races where he just starts riding pretty bad. Happened a lot in Supercross. It's turned around a little bit outdoors, but still seems like the crash bug is always going to reach up and bite him when he least likes it to. 18 Loida in chat wants to see Zach Dupuy. I mean, sure, dude. Let's see, where is the old pin to win? There he is. He's coming through right now in 14th. Just moved into 14th, I should say, as Will Whiteley was down. I told him right before this race got started, he's got to finish top 10. That was an empty promise. All right, so Blakely up to fourth behind Prokop, who is in third. Then Deering is in fifth on the 72. He's quietly put together a really strong year. He and his teammate Blakely both running really, really solid most of this GP campaign. Then we got Kyle Robb holding it down for the two-stroke army. He is in sixth on this YZ 250. Somewhere out there. Nathan Zaworski just creamed a little. Andrade behind him. Robert Wilson tucks the front wheel and allows Colton Mitchell through on the 6. So position changes continuing to go on through the entire field. It's not just exclusive to our front runners. These guys are always battling any position you find on the racetrack. Someone is having a battle. Kyler Hockey is holding off your whole shot winner Jack Haley. Haley, who entered the night third in the championship, 6 points behind LeClair, is not in a very opportune position to gain anything in the championship. He's going to pass Kyler Hockey rather aggressively. Hockey fights back. Oh, and then crashes going down the hill. Lost traction, and that is going to bite him, but he's only going to lose this one spot to Haley, so not a huge loss in the end. Just time-wise, it always sucks, those fall-off crashes. Here's our versus PC one to watch, Ian Holm, who is in 12th. Yes, 12th. 205-1 last time by, so must have had a crash. Then Caden Speck behind him. Reed Young also holding it down for two-stroke army. So we got two strokes inside of the points right now, folks. These guys came to play. Ooh, we actually have a battle for second brewing. Something happened to LeClair, or Prokop has wildly picked up the pace. 51.7 out of Prokop, so I guess you could say he has picked up the pace. But a 49.6 out of LeClair last lap pretty much suggests that he had a crash of some kind or a fall. About 2 seconds in it between LeClair and Prokop. And big gap behind them. 21 seconds back to Blakely in fourth, so Prokop is pretty safe, at least for the moment. Unless he has a couple fall-off crashes, with at least finishing up this one in third, but a lot of racing left to go. So you never want to say anything is a foregone conclusion in this type of racing. So let's see, what was LeClair's lap going to be this time by? This is probably gonna be a telltale sign of the type of crash that he had. Could have been a fall off, could have been a tip over. 55-1, yeah, probably just like a big tip over or like a high side that he saved and lost a lot of time. I mean, I guess he could have actually fallen off and it would have been a quick one. Get up and basically charge the rest of the lap and what would have been a qualifying lap anyway. Only lose a couple of seconds, but I'm guessing it's just a small tip over of some kind. Getting back here at the battle for 5th, Ash Deering and Kyle Robb. Robb whinging around the track a little bit here on the 2-smoke. Probably the best we've seen Robb ride this year, and coming on a 252 stroke. That's no slouch right there. Former 250 regional supercross champion, Kyle Robb. And multiple indoor and outdoor victories to his resume, but never has quite been as consistent as that year he won the indoor title on the 250. Trying to hold off the Aussie sensation, Ash Deering, for BPC. Not as close as a battle as maybe some of the other ones on the track. Haley behind them. Andrade, Mitchell, Wilson, Hockey. How about Ian Holm and Jeremy Cohenauer? Oh, that's Will Whiteley, I should say, the other MB Films teammate. And Whiteley right around the outside of Holm is going to get that pass done, and Holm is just trying to save it coming down the hill. Almost had a big off. So that allows Chase Donovan for DX3 to close in. Caden Speck, Jeremy Cohenauer, Eduardo Simos, Zach Dupuis. How far down are we? 18th, 19th for Reed Young, and 20th right now is Tommy Delaire, but he is, well, mixed in with the race leader, I should say. That is Adam Holm just up the road. Really not a lot of battling going on, but we do have a change for the lead, so something happened to Adam Holm, and LeClair is now out front. 2019 last time by. Yeah, must have had a fall-off crash somewhere. You don't lose 11 seconds from your fastest lap without a big crash. And that has completely flipped the dynamic of this race. LeClair had his mistake, now Holm has seemingly had his. Now the question begs whether or not Holm can regroup and keep this race somewhat close and interesting. LeClair already stretched it out to almost 5 seconds after Holm has gotten up, although he actually just fell, did LeClair, so only 2 seconds in it between our leaders. And LeClair, oh, I thought he just went down again. Reed Young moving out of the way, going into the mechanics area there. So again, LeClair seemingly has the pace on raw speed over Holm, but consistency always kind of been a bit of an up and down for LeClair. Holm pretty rock solid for the most part. Supercross wasn't maybe as consistent as he normally would hope to be. But so far outdoors, it has been the same Holm that we saw last year. Fast, consistent, no problems. Just putting down a 30+2 with very little issue. Despite the early mistake here, he still has plenty of time to keep the pressure on LeClair. Make LeClair think about it going down into the latter halves of this race. Prokop, Blakely, and Kyle Robb was closing on Blakely till he just went off the racetrack. Gets back on still in 5th, and trying to work around, make a lapper just up the road there. And Haley's just moved around Ash Deering, so Haley really on the charge right now. Take a look at his lap time, 48.6 last time out of Haley. So the 57 machine is probably kicking himself for those early race crashes that really set him to a big disadvantage. But now up to P6, only 6 seconds behind 5th, who is Kyle Robb. And right ahead of Robb now is Blakely, so there's potential there for Haley to gain more points, make amends for some early mistakes. Here's a little freight train battle going on between Kyler Hockey, Ian Holm, and Chase Donovan. 3 riders mixed together, battling it out over 12th position. Holm trying to use that middle rut to his advantage, kind of converts to the inside here. Oh, and he hits a bump on the inside, tucks the front wheel, and down he goes. Will he remain in that 13th spot? Looks like he will, as Donovan must have already had a fall off himself before we saw what happened there to Holm. And now Holm goes down again. Donovan gets into him. Here comes Will Whiteley. Donovan's still stuck on Holm, and he's kind of high-centered on a rut there, so it really kind of negatively impacted both of their races right there. And here comes race leader Alexis LeClair, amongst a couple lappers that don't really know which way to go. That almost came unraveled there. Let's actually peek back up front and see where that gap is at. A little over 2 seconds, LeClair to Holm. And lappers just literally everywhere right now. Donovan going off screen, Ian Holm on the left side here. And Eduardo Simos on the 51 back there as Holm splits the difference and gets around Donovan. Oh, LeClair hung up on the inside rut in the corner there. Oh boy, we got a battle on our hands for the lead now. Oh, and Will Whiteley gets clipped by LeClair as he was trying to get going again. LeClair unfazed by it, but that could have ended negatively for both riders. Unfortunately for Whiteley, he goes back down again. But now it sets us up for a great battle out front. A little over 20 minutes into this one. LeClair, I think, going to try to put the hammer down and just stretch it back out, but what that may do is open up the opportunity for more mistakes as Holm continues to just kind of lurk right on his rear tire here. LeClair staying so low on that tabletop. Holm trying to carry some momentum. Arcs off the rut at the bottom of the hill, nice and smooth. Up to the top here. Oh man, LeClair almost hopped off the inside, and then Holm goes down in the same corner. So there goes, folks. Had a battle brewing, and it's gone, as they say on South Park. So LeClair now probably about 11 seconds clear of championship rival Adam Holm. Zach Prokop still sits third. Blakely is in fourth. Kyle Robb is in fifth, but Haley has caught Robb, as we kind of expected to happen. 52-2 last time for Haley. Might have the opportunity to go into fifth here before long. Dropping down off the top of the hill, just floating over the bumps there is Haley, making it look effortless. And Robb just kind of lets him go. I heard Robb chop the throttle. Maybe he made a mistake, but off screen you could hear a little blip out of that two-stroke. And Haley moves up into fifth. How far ahead is fourth? Well, not too far. Maybe 4 seconds up the road is Blakely. And he almost just came together with a lapped rider right there. That is 2:13 right there. Is that Francis Heather back racing with us? Haley tripling in, so he almost is getting that line that LeClair is doing. Triple, triple, and then double through the inside. Seems like Haley is, till that mistake actually, rather quickly reeling in Blakely, and Blakely just made a mistake at the top of the hill. So yeah, it is quickly developed into a battle here for 4th. Oh, and 213, Tommy DeLaire. My apologies on the misnumbering. Jack Haley on the 57, your 2019 Supercross champion. Trying to reel in Blakely. Maybe he has some sized up. Oh, and he goes down, tucks the front end. Up and over the bars he goes. And Kyle Robb able to close right back down, but it seems almost like Robb doesn't want anything to do with Haley here. And Haley front flips the ride through 6.5 table. So he's still having fun out there despite maybe having a little bit rougher moto than he'd hoped. Which is always good to see. It is a game at the end of the day. Trying to find ourselves a battle here. Not a lot going on. Still looks like Ian Holm and Chase Donovan are not done fighting with each other, but no longer are they battling for 12th. I think this is now, well, Donovan just went down, but I think this is 17th now. Where is Holm? Yeah, 17th. As he lets Chase Blakely on through. And, oof, goodness me, Tommy DeLaire going super long on the double. Somehow saved it and is going back after Donovan to get into 18th if he can. So a frisky little battle here for 1 extra point on the line. And DeLaire slides out, ends up almost backwards in the track, so no longer is he in that fight. And Lewis Williams coming out of the corner at the top of the hill here still holds down P20. Sean Smith, who was up in 3rd or even up in 2nd at a certain point of this race, is outside of the points now, so it has come very quickly unglued here for the 222. Reed Young out of this one, as is Saulnier, and Kyle Howard just kind of rolling around off the side of the track letting people go. That is last guy is still running. Back out front to LeClair though. 25 and some change minutes into this one. Trying to flip the switch on cruise control. Well, that's not going to help as he slides out. But I don't think Holm really has the opportunity to close it down without a huge mistake out of LeClair. 14.2 seconds. Lap times have been pretty similar the last couple laps. LeClair a little bit slower that last time through, but again, cruise control may be on already this late into the moto, just trying to make as minimal mistakes as he can. And usually that kind of elicits the lap times going down, but obviously it makes it so that you don't have those fall-off crashes that could really cost you. And it was only 9.5 second lead, now 9.2. Albert Wilson going a lap down here. You know, if you're LeClair here, last thing you want to do is have a fall-off crash. Allow Holm to close down, make things a little bit more interesting. To Holm's credit, he has not really given up the fight here either. Very easily could have kind of just laid over and realized this one's a lost cause, but fighting till the end. Stretches out to a little over 11 seconds now, so I think LeClair had a good couple of sections there. Always saw Holm make a couple of mistakes, just real small ones, but I mean, those things, it's amazing how much time just small little mistakes, little trinkets here and there cost you. Prokop working his way around Will Whiteley, who was down. Blakely and Haley. So Haley no longer within striking distance of Chase Blakely, it would seem. And Kyle Robb still sits right behind him. Ash Deering all alone. Andrade also by himself, basically. And then Colt Mitchell back here. I think this is 9th, yeah. And rounding out your top 10 is Robert Wilson, who we just saw going a lap down. Yeah, so just up ahead right now is race leader Alexis LeClair. Wilson's putting in a pretty good race here, must be said. You know, you see someone go a lap down and mind immediately thinks, oh man, not the moto they were hoping for, but still P10, putting in some solid laps. He's had probably a couple crashes here last couple laps, and yeah, another crash right there, but to be in the top 10 amongst all these guys out here is impressive stuff. So LeClair making this one a little bit of a snoozer in the second half. Oh man, but he almost went down right there. I'll tell you what, he always makes it interesting, regardless of how big his lead is. He puts you on the edge of your seat sometimes. Kind of throws caution to the wind when the wind doesn't need to be cautioned. Could be well on his way to a race 1 victory here, though, would LeClair. And what it would do for him is pull that points gap, which was 26, down to 23. And as this is round 4, that leaves us with 13 motos left to go and a 23-point gap. Obviously very doable to close down. He just beat the timer, 30 minutes right now. And he crossed the finish line about 5 seconds ago. So 3 laps to go. Still getting nice and saucy for the crowd. Holmes still giving chase, but really nothing he can do at this point. He's got to just hope something happens for your race leader, Alexis LeClair. Kyle Robb's worked his way back around Jack Haley, so that is a change for position. P5 now is the 23. Haley back to 6th. I'm sure when you drew it up on a board, Jack Haley getting the whole shot, the last thing you would think is him crashing early in the race and causing all this mayhem for him to go well back, and now he goes down again. Ash Deering may get there just as Haley is getting going, but oh my goodness, clearly a big kicker coming out of that rut down there. Actually, let's go on board with Andrade and take a look. Well, that's a terrible view. So we'll wait for Mitchell to get there. Gotta use first-person models in these games. Everybody has an FP model in their pack, it would seem, except the Power Dream crew. Well, Colt Mitchell going super long on that jump right there. And yet still lands wide open on a back tire. Nothing happens to him. Does seem sometimes like these guys are playing a different game, I'll admit that. So there's that, oh yeah, that notch coming out of that inside rut is catching everybody. Let's see if Wilson hits it too. Just out of the exit of the corner, just wham, little notch right there. He actually carved out of the rut early and missed it. That was smart out of him. Whiteley trying to hold off Caden Speck here. This is a close little battle. Let's see, are both these guys going to hit this notch as well? Will it catch either of them out? No, actually Whiteley tucks under early and misses it. Speck also missing it. And Hockey giving chase right behind. These guys are all nice and tight-knit right here. Down by the mechanics area. One lap board should be going out here any moment. Alexis LeClair would be about halfway around the track right now, I guess. Maybe just past the waves. Nope, not to the waves yet. Goodness me, these guys have lapped pretty far through the field. So Holm just lapped Robert Wilson. LeClair putting someone a lap down who is not already on the lead lap. So it looks like they have lapped up to 10th. May still have a couple more spots they could get up to. It's a shorter track here in Agueda. It doesn't necessarily feel like it. A lot of different twists and turns. Lap times can end up around the 2-minute mark, but obviously we go to some tracks that are well over the 2-minute mark. So when you have shorter lap times like this, the possibility to lap deeper through the field is obviously a little bit more prevalent. And there is LeClair, I believe, putting Andrade, who is P8, a lap down. Yes, it is. So white flag should be coming out for LeClair this time by. No real pressure from behind, so kind of on cruise control as mentioned. Still throwing big whips. I'll always be an advocate for that. I like it. I'll tell you what, Zach Prokop has not entirely let go of the possibility of getting into second before this is over, so Adam Holm has got to be on his toes in the closing stages of this race, because Prokop is, yeah, about 6 seconds behind over the line this time by. That certainly will make things a little bit more puckering there for Mr. Adam Holm. Losing 3 points to LeClair, it happens. Doesn't want to lose more than that though. Just trying to hold on to second if he can. All the while LeClair continues to lead, but he just went down actually. LeClair down out front. Still going to get up with plenty of time behind him, but that is kind of interesting because now it almost makes it plausible that if he has one more fall off, Holm could get there. See where the gap is going to be through this valley. 10 seconds, 9. Yeah, so one fall off crash from LeClair, it would get rather interesting, I would say. So again, LeClair just trying to stay on 2 wheels. Holm is trying to keep Prokop at bay though. Prokop is the man on the charge here on the last lap of the race. Hoping that his late race charge maybe rattles Holm just a little bit, makes him think about it, forces an unforced error, or just a late race error, I should say. Either way, despite a last lap crash, Clair is going to be the victor here as he brings it down to the line, and race number 1 in Portugal belongs to Alexis LeClair with a huge whip over the finish line jump. Second place, championship leader. Adam Holm will hold that spot, 9 seconds down in the end, and Prokop, huge charge on the last lap there, 4 seconds down to Holm, did a 51.8 on the last lap of the race while the track is just hammered, and they did lap up to P8, Fernando Andrade. Blakely going through the waves all by himself in 4th. Haley back up into 5th. Kyle Robb has got 6th, pretty well locked up. Ash Deering is definitely going to get 7th because nobody can pass him as they're all finished. Andrade was 8th, 9th Wilson, 10th Mitchell, 11th Caden Speck will cross the line and pick it up right there. Right behind him, Will Whiteley was 12th. 13th for Kyler Hockey. Jeremy Cohenauer should get 14th, although that's not going to help. He goes down, but Zach Dupuy, I should say, was also down, so not going to get to him. So Ian Holm, our versus PC one to watch, gets a freebie on the last lap because Zach Dupuy crashed while in 15th and handed it over. So Dupuy goes back to 16th now. Dropping in off the top, Ian Holm comes down by the mechanics area. Sees his mechanic waving the towel one last time. Don't worry, he and his mechanic will be riding back to the pits in about 30 seconds. As Holm crosses the line 15th. Simos ends up 16th, so he was also able to get Dupuy on the last lap, and Dupuy crashes again in the final corner to give Chase Donovan 17th. Zach Dupuis having a rough last lap here, goes from 15th to 18th and crosses the line right there in 18th. Tommy Dallaire gonna pick up 19th, and 20th was Kyle Howard. 21st, Lewis Williams. 22nd, Sean Smith. 23rd, Reed Young. 24th, Dominic Saunier. And that was it. Cuts. Anybody get affected by cuts? Nope. So LeClair is still your winner here in race 1. He's having a little bit of party at the top of the hill. How the heck is he doing that without falling? Looks funny, but making it work. All right, folks, little break coming up, and little 5-minute break, as I just said. And this is where we open it up to the chat. If you guys have any questions you'd like answered, either about the series, something you got a question for me on, or someone that you need to know more about, be happy to try to answer as best as I can. And I usually always like just riding the track a little bit right now as well, seeing how it weathered comparatively in the 450 class, unlike the 250 class. How about Tim Geiser? I know, man, freaking Timmy crushing it, and Antonio Cairoli folding up like a perfectly brand new lawn chair, I'll tell you that much. Not sure what's going on with him. Whoop. But yeah, Geiser's fully taking advantage of this weird, inconsistent, rarely inconsistent Antonio Cairoli, and now has that points lead. Hold the backup button, pop the clutch, and keep the backup button held in with the throttle wide open. So, doesn't seem like it's really working. I need to, I don't know. Anyway, are you ready for High Point this weekend? Bro, I'm always ready for more motocross. Like, bring it around. Always want some more moto. You got it, I'm eating it. It's gonna be a good weekend. How do you stay interested and involved in this game for so long? Are you bored? I am not bored of Sim whatsoever. Are you kidding me? Sim has kept my attention for far longer than any other game that I've ever played. I fully would not have made SYS. I wouldn't know only like pretty much any of my friends without Sim. Even freaking Teach Photo, who's sitting across from me on his computer right now, came down here to visit. I wouldn't have known him if I didn't pick up Sim, probably. I don't know. Maybe we would cross paths, but unlikely. I don't know, man. It's held my attention for a long time. I love it. It's a great game, great fun, and I know so many people in it that it's pretty easy, I feel like, to keep up to date with what's going on. It's a little bit harder these days because there's like a full new generation of people that I don't know as well coming through. But yeah, man, it's fun covering these races and being involved in the community and such. So I've always enjoyed it, man. Let's see. Why don't you got anyone else in the booth? Well, tonight, I don't know why nobody else is around. Like I said, I know Todd across the way is, he was doing a little bit of streaming earlier, but turned his off, and he's not as super well versed on like sim stuff as some of my other co-hosts, so I don't want to force him to chit-chat if he doesn't want. But some of the other co-hosts that I would have normally around here, Mark doesn't usually help out for outdoors or GPs in general. A Wood is probably drunk somewhere, so just doing it by myself. Yeah, I don't know, Ty, I can't figure it out, man. Pop the clutch once you're already backed up, so like, yeah, I can't figure it out. Why Twitch versus YouTube? So, if you've missed it at all, Failed Motorsports is like cracking down super hard on motocross streamers. So Moto Gogo was like one of the biggest names that got hit, and he got a copyright strike on his channel for streaming him playing the MX Simulator version of Anaheim 2. And tried contacting Feld saying you don't own any of this footage, you don't own this game, you can't do that. They did nothing. YouTube did nothing because they're YouTube and they're garbage most of the time. And I kind of expected this to come anyway, so I preemptively went with a program that is a little bit friendlier to its users in Twitch, in that like they wouldn't just take Feld's word for it and not listen to what you have to say and try to, you know, fight back against the system a little bit. So it's a lot easier streaming on Twitch because you can kind of get away with more. YouTube, it's always like tougher, like swear words and stuff like that too, they crack down on. So Twitch is a lot better for actually streaming, and I wanted to build our streaming profile up this year, so I went Twitch exclusive for streaming and just kept YouTube as the videos only. But some stuff that we stream I don't upload to YouTube, but most of the stuff that we stream ends up on YouTube anyway, so it's like no different really anyway. No, A. Maroney, you did not miss Moto 2. It's coming up actually right now. That's why we just restarted. And no, Fins Fan 555. I'm sorry, I only usually let people I'm like really comfortable with and know very well join me to co-host, because I'm sure you're a great guy, but sometimes people can come in here and make a right fool of themselves and drop some words they shouldn't, and usually that leads to some problems for myself and other people in the old Twitch and YouTube streams anyway. Alrighty folks, race number 2 getting lined up, and we're gonna get you out of here tonight, hopefully before 8:30. We're gonna have a little 3-hour program. Alright, versus PC 1-2 watch. Who do we want to take a look at this time? Who was impressive in that first race that it's good to take a look at? Maybe Kyle Robb here on the 2-smoke? Be our versus PC 1 to watch. Ended up 6th in that first race on the 250. Pretty impressive stuff out of old Rider Rob. So we'll have him as our versus PC 1 to watch. Is Jack Haley also on a 2-stroke? Jack Haley, folks, on a 2-stroke. Not messing around this time. He hole shot the first race. He crashed 1,000 times. He is not having the best of times out here in Portugal today, so he's gonna have a little bit of fun with it and ride an RM, or I should say a CR 250. So used to saying RM 250 because everybody uses the RM dyno in this game, but not Jack Haley and not Kyle Robb, who's also using the YZ dyno. So that's kind of cool. Little myriad of 2-smokers out here. Reed Young, I think, is also still on his RM 250. Fun action here, round 4 of the RFGP series. And it is time for race 2 of the MX1 division. LeClair winner in the first race. Trying to go 1-1 on the day and chip away at that points lead that is possessed right now by Adam Holm. 26 points entering. It is now at 23 unofficially. And we're going to see if it goes down even more after this one. Can Holm respond? Can LeClair go 1-1? Who will reign supreme in Portugal? Find out right now. It's the RFGP of Portugal live on SYS TV. Land rush into turn 1. LeClair gets to the corner first as per usual, but he does not leave first. It's Kohenauer who grabs the hole shot, and the 43 machine tried to lead into turn 2, but LeClair just pushes him right to the outside, takes over the race lead, and off he tries to go. Blakely settles into second as Donovan gets into the back of him and goes down. Looks like he may have taken Ian Holm with him, so that's a bummer for Holm, the Ian variety, who got a good start this time. So Blakely's up here. Prokop a good start once again, bringing along Jeremy Kohenauer, Will Whiteley right there, and then the 27 of Adam Holm. So literally every MV Films rider is right here at the front. Prokop hopping down the hill just makes the move on Kohenauer. Whiteley and then Holm, who is sitting in 6th and wants to get around his teammates and everybody else as quickly as he can so he can go after LeClair. Giving LeClair the early lead is always tough to come back from. Holm hops over that inside double, uses the outside, which turned to the inside, but not able to get a line on his teammate Whiteley. Then Kohenauer goes down. Holm getting a little stacked up there. Whiteley blows the inside, so a couple passes right there. Meanwhile, Blakely and Prokop going at it for second. Prokop trying to go 3-2 perhaps, or maybe get into second here and go after LeClair if he can. One lap in the books. Probably about 17 more to go. We've been hitting about 18, 19 laps in these things. Already a 4-second lead for LeClair. I mean, he is off to the races, I'll tell you that much. And we got Blakely and Prokop coming in right behind. Then Holm already up into fourth and trying to give chase. Whiteley, his teammate, behind that. Simos and Wilson in the mix. And a little further back, we have Kyle Howard ahead of Tommy DeLaire, Chase Donovan, Zach Dupuis, Andrade, Haley, Young, Mitchell, Holm, Saulnier. This is an absolute freight train right here. Look at, there's like 7, 8 guys almost all on the same screen. Look at this. Coming up to the top of the hill, there's 8 guys in the same corner maybe? Incredible action. And not too far up the road, Kyle Howard, Zach Dupuis, Tommy DeLaire. Dupuis tucks inside. That was bold out of Dupuis as he pushes Howard off the track. Howard loses literally 8 positions because that whole freight train went by. Now Dupuis almost getting swallowed up as Donovan crosses over. Dupuis trying to tuck inside to get that position back. Donovan has to heed to that position. And now Haley goes around the outside of Donovan on the 2-stroke. Reed Young also in this mix on his RM250. Look at this freight train right here. This is insane. Oh, Haley into the back of Dupuis goes down. And just like that, this train is really starting to disperse a little bit. We have all of our 2-stroke riders on screen at the same time right there as Kyle Robb also just went on through. But this grouping still not quite done. Dupuis peeking on Wilson. Meanwhile, Simos jumps across the inside. Tommy DeLaire is still leading the pack. So it's DeLaire, Wilson, and then Dupuis with Andrade. No, sorry, Simos on the 51. Mitchell going inside of Dupuis. Then Donovan brings up the caboose here. Oh, we got a stack up as Simos goes down almost. Andrade going to slide on into the group as well. And still Dallaire leading, although he goes down and takes Robert Wilson with him. Oh, and Dupuis was trying to swing around the outside, make a couple more passes. He slid out. So now it's Mitchell, Donovan, Andrade, Dupuis getting passed by Simos and Andrade, I should say. Rob in the mix now with Robert Wilson. Cohenauer on the 43 also in here. Oh, and that was, I think that was Andrade ending up sideways on the uphill. So everybody having to split. Different lines coming back down the hill. Guys going every which direction right now, trying to just get away from each other. And actually it was Simos who was sideways on the hill. Him and his teammate Andrade running the exact same gear and helmet and all that stuff combo. Now Andrade really short on the triple, so Dupuis might have a move. Nope. Andrade shuts the door. And here comes Robert Wilson also trying to have a peek. Kyle Robb on the 2-stroke still mixed in. These guys are just frantic battling right now. Robert Wilson peeks inside. Andrade makes a mistake. Dupuis trying to triple by all of them is actually going to get by Andrade. Whoa, Dupuis sending it. And Andrade and Wilson go back on by. Rob might have an angle as well. He will get through. And here comes Cohenauer trying to peek down the inside to the top of the hill. Thinks better of it. Dupuis holds the spot for now. Meanwhile, Rob going by 3 guys at the same time. Gets to pass Donovan and Andrade as he crosses over on him. Here's Donovan, who looks like he just got up from a tip over. So Kyle Robb slicing and dicing his way through this entire little pack. Incredible action right now. And meanwhile, we have missed some action out front. LeClair has gone down. Prokop leads Blakely and Holm. LeClair back behind Whiteley all the way back to 5th, so a couple huge mistakes. 57 flat last time by Maybe just had another fall off to make it even worse, but how about it? Zach Prokop leading in Portugal. Up and over the versus PC double into the back around the pond. And Holm now into second, so this is a crucial juncture of the race. Does Holm have the pace to just flat catch Prokop? He would do himself a huge favor to get into the lead as quickly as possible, while LeClair still sits about 10 seconds adrift of him. But obviously Prokop has been no slouch here today. Almost caught Holm late in that first race. So Prokop, ooh, little mistake before the finish line. Still continues to lead the race. Holm trying to give chase in second. Take a quick peek at our lap times, 51.2 to a 51.4. So they're doing very similar times. And actually Prokop, I think, was getting away that last time, but made a small mistake into the final corner that really cost him. Probably would have been a half second quicker without that mistake. 2.5 seconds is the lead right now. Just about that 8-minute mark of the moto. A lot has happened. That battle that's going on a little further back still looks like it's going on. Taking a peek back, looks like LeClair just got Whiteley. And we got Mitchell, Andrade, Robb, Donovan, Dupuis mixed together with Cohenauer, so these guys still going at it. Looking further back, we got Simos, Dallaire, Sean Smith all mixed together. Ash Deering trying to come through the field with Caden Speck. And then Jack Haley's still back here too, smoking it. Caden Speck getting saucy on the tabletop. They both get around Tommy Dallaire, who was down. So this battle's kind of opened up just a little bit. Donovan has Cohenauer giving him a little bit of a fit right here. Let's see if Cohenauer peeks to the inside in this bowl corner. No, they funneled to that same line. Just following right now is Cohenauer. Looking for an opportunity. Might have one here, landing on the double. Hopping across to the inside, uses the outside line here. And then he'll jump into the waves and make that pass on Donovan, who also made a small bobble on the inside. Probably ended up costing him the position. But he'll tuck in right behind Cohenauer as they try to squirt away from Dupuis, who runs 11th. Up ahead, Kyle Robb is still continuing his charge forward as he's working on Andrade. Just wringing the neck of that YZ250 for everything it's worth. Look at this. Oh, gets into Andrade, and somehow he stays on two wheels. Andrade ends up going down, but gets right back up. They're pretty far behind Colton Mitchell at this point. And Will Whiteley doing his best Mitch Butler impersonation coming down the hill. Ooh, LeClair just got Blakely, who was down because of a crash. That's going to be third now for LeClair. Whiteley trying to get there. Oh, and Holm was just down, so Holm and LeClair end up battling it out now for second. Prokop has really opened up this lead, as the battle for second is where it's at. Adam Holm, Alexis LeClair going after each other. Inside versus outside options. LeClair is still doing this triple line, which is just absolutely freaking nuts. Looks a little sketchy though, and Holm has closed it back in by the end of the section. 8-second lead now for Prokop, and these two are fighting each other tooth and nail. LeClair, you can almost see kind of the aggression coming through right now. He's maybe a little anxious. Finally worked his way forward after those early race mistakes. In a pretty good position right now, but it very quickly could come unraveled like it was earlier. And Holm would love to be the man that rattles him loose. for the lap times last time by. 50.3. Prokop up front just did his best lap of the race at a 50.4. And Holm did a 59.1, so obviously that fall-off crash cost him quite a bit of time. Mesmerizing sometimes to just watch these guys put in the laps. Some of the things they do, like look at LeClair, just mid-section just pulls a triple out in that wave section, which doesn't have a lot of pop on it, folks. Like doing that, you think maybe it's just a little rhythm section jump. It is not. It is full-blown rollers. And he just out of nowhere just leans back, suspension rebounds, and kicks him right forward. Got the gap down to the leader Prokop to 3.9 seconds, and I'm assuming this is probably going to be a new fastest lap of the race right here. 48.1 was what he'd already done. 48.4, so just missed out, but still running a blazing pace. No one even close to him. 42.3 out of Prokop and 50.1 out of Holm. This lead is coming down in a hurry, and we're not even yet halfway through this moto, so Prokop has got to be sweating some bullets right now. No lap traffic up ahead, so it's all out on the racetrack speed-wise. Clair can see him. A couple spots here and there. Look up ahead, you see Prokop in the distance. Also see the time coming down on the pit board. Gives you a vote of confidence a little bit. Just enough to up your pace without breaking a level of comfort. Got it down to 2.3. This lead gap is coming down very, very fast. Prokop's got to be wondering, what else could he do? What else could he have done different while possessing the lead to prevent this from happening? I don't think you can do much when someone like Alexis LeClair is just reeling you in handfuls of seconds every lap. Looking around, I think that's Kyle Howard that they just moved around. He's running in 19th. So this time by, LeClair wasn't as smooth, but his time's still probably going to be pretty good. 50.3. Holm actually kept it relatively close at a 51.5 and a 51 flat out of Prokop. So actually he responded to that challenge a little bit. Put in another pretty good lap. 3.2 seconds is the gap. Just crested the halfway point of the moto. And our three leaders are separated by no more than 6 seconds or so here. Under 3, and even further under 3 seconds. LeClair using inside lines all over the place. And when I say there's no lap traffic ahead, I mean there is none. They have 2 full straightaways at least before there's another lapper for Prokop. So even, you could say lappers may have held him up a little bit, but at this point it's just clear racetrack. This is LeClair just reeling him in. LeClair now using this inside, but watch, what does he do? He goes double, double, and then triple out. Didn't quite get the full triple that time, but even that alone is impressive. Prokop is just sitting up ahead on the road a little bit, 2 second gap. Holm has drifted down to over 8 seconds behind Prokop, which has kind of been the same since they got into these positions, but obviously LeClair has been the one that's tightened the gap towards Prokop. All right, over this time, taking a look at lap times, 50.7. Prokop continues to put in burners, but nothing much you can do when the guy behind you is going sub 50s lap after lap. Turned into a bit of a lap time war here, really. Kind of waiting and seeing how much time each lap does LeClair chunk away. And it's actually been really fascinating to see how well Prokop has responded to this pressure. Had been doing 52s, 51s, suddenly bam, back-to-back 50s, which, I mean, that's incredible. That pace, and the fact that it's not going to be enough is really almost a shame, because here we are. That gap to the lead is gone. On merit alone, LeClair has caught Prokop for the lead. A little over 12 minutes and 2 laps remain. And something dramatic is going to have to turn here for Prokop to find a second or two more. Or perhaps LeClair has been pushing so much he's almost exhausted the good laps that were in him. Look, it doesn't even use the main line out of the corner there. And still might get the pass done. Look at this, down the inside. He's going to get it done on Prokop. Prokop, no response as they drop back down the hill. And new leader, Alexis LeClair in Portugal. 12 minutes, 2 laps to go. En route to a potential 1-1 performance here today. Ooh, a little off kilter there. That could have gone bad. Prokop is going to try to latch on here. LeClair goes 12 o'clock and ends up backwards on the track. He's got to be careful to rejoin safely here. Holm is going to go on through. So just as quickly as he got the lead, he coughs it right back up. Literally had it for like 3 corners and goes right back down. Holm goes back through. And now our leaders are separated by only 5 seconds. Prokop back to the front. 3.8 seconds ahead of Holm, who has definitely clawed down in the last couple laps. Gained 4 seconds that last lap alone on Prokop, who, to be fair, had LeClair breathing down his neck, so a little of that pressure probably caused some mistakes that wouldn't be regularly mistakes that he would make. Gotta imagine LeClair is gonna try to just weave back through as quickly as possible. Even as they run, though, LeClair is still in line for the overall victory. Or I should say Prokop would be in line for the overall victory. They tie on points. But crucially, LeClair gains points in the championship towards Holm, regardless of positioning at the moment. So Holm trying to respond back and at least stick with LeClair this time. Ooh, that almost came to blows at the hairpin. Oh, and Holm goes down, and LeClair just squeaks by. Holm got a big old kick on the downhill double and was not able to corral it before landing, and it allows LeClair back on through. And again, that officially would give LeClair the overall victory and a big haul in the point standings. But I have a feeling he's not done. He is going back after Prokop again. Gap down to 4 seconds. 51.8 to 52.9 for your leader. I want to see, take a little lap on board here with Prokop for a second. I want to see if there's any noticeable things that he's losing time by maybe not flowing a corner or something that stands out, because I mean, you can't say that the lap times he's running are really all that bad, but LeClair continuing to eat away at it. I mean, smooth in and out of the corners, hitting his marks. At least for the moment, he's keeping the gap kind of steady. mean, I can't really pick out anything that's really wildly off with his line choice. His flow in and out of corners looks really good. The only thing I will say is that it looks like acceleration-wise, he's a little slower than LeClair, which makes sense given LeClair's setups. But to lose 2 seconds that quickly, oh man, I just don't get it. And now makes a big mistake trying to lap Tommy Delaire. But, oh, something happened. Holm is back around LeClair, so LeClair must have gone down again. Consistency kills, I suppose, is the phrase to go by here. Prokop, by just putting in those laps and letting LeClair make the mistakes, is really kind of working in his favor at this point. So LeClair, once again, having to go back to work on Adam Holm. And boy, oh boy, I would like to watch something other than this battle at this point, because these guys have been locked together for the entire race. But this is fascinating stuff, trying to figure out championship-wise how this is going to shake down and whether or not LeClair can put in another run after Prokop for the lead. 8 seconds adrift of him now. So where does LeClair maybe have something lined up to get home this time? Both using pretty similar lines. So for the moment, doesn't seem like LeClair has one spot picked out that's really that much better. Both using inside here. LeClair has a pretty good drive. This might be a good spot. Up to the top of the hill. Holm swings wide. And LeClair makes the move. I'd almost care to wager that was a bit of a gimme for Holm after he's seen how many times LeClair has crashed this race. Just let him go. Let him crash again. Get the spot back eventually. Or maybe even right now put the pressure on him and force another error out of the #1 machine. At least for now, gap has stabilized between Prokop and LeClair. Holm and LeClair is still close, but clearly Holm doesn't actually want to fully put a battle on just yet. Maybe wait until a little later in the race before this one comes to blows. Looking back, we see Colton Mitchell's moved up to 4th, so that's a really solid ride for Mitchell, who has had a really up and down year as well. So good charge, solid moto, and I would assume that this is going to be a pretty happy result for Mitchell. Blakely, another top 5 performance, although that's not going to help his case. He goes down halfway down the hill, so Whiteley's going to go through into 5th. Blakely still has a shot to go get him though. And just top 5 consistently. Blakely might be the guy at the end of the season with the most top 5s. Just trying to corral that into a race victory at some point, I would assume, out of the 16. Kyle Robb, man on the charge, the entire race has gone from pretty far back to 7th on a 2-stroke. That's pretty impressive. And again, versus PC1 to watch this race, so taking a quick peek at him and see how his lines are flowing. Looks like he is smooth as butter all around the track right now. Ash Deering back here in 8th. 9th for Kohenauer. And Dupuis was in 10th, but he just gave it up to Chase Donovan. And Andrade also was able to get through as well. So Dupuis back to 12th. Andrade goes up to 11th. Caden Speck, 13th. But all these guys are about to gain a spot because Donovan just went down. So Donovan, who was in 10th, ends up back in 13th. 14th, Delaire. 15th, Haley, who's smoking it out here. 16th for Wilson. 17th for Smith. 18th, Howard. 19th, Holm. 20th, Hockey. And Hockey is in a sandwich he would not like to be in right now. LeClair and Holm battling each other. Hockey not heating way, though, to Adam Holm just yet. Let's see if he gives him the line at the top of the hill. Well, interestingly enough, he didn't, but finally bumps out of the way. All right, so heading back out front, Zach Prokop checking in 26 minutes in on to lap number 15, 52.7 last time by. LeClair was able to put down a 51.2, Holm a 51.4. These two are locked together. We'll stay on board with the 27 here for a minute and see what it looks like from his perspective. Lapped rider of Ian Holm, very nicely moving aside. Ooh, Holm kind of hopped into that corner, I think a little farther than he'd wanted to. Put him in a bit of a bad spot, but kept it together. Now peeks inside of LeClair. Nothing doing there just yet, but maybe setting up something later. How about this line, though? Goes inside again and makes the pass. So talking about Holm maybe waiting for a forced error out of LeClair. No longer is he waiting. He's just going right back on through. Oh, and LeClair just blows him over. The French lag bites again. And LeClair able to stay on two wheels despite basically just running into the back of Holm. Holm gets back up. Oh, and Prokop was down as well, so now we have a battle for the lead. Prokop v. LeClair. I'd have to imagine Holm is hoping that this comes to blows right here, because he would love to have a shot at LeClair again after that horrible display of lag coming into effect. Prokop gonna fight for every inch here, and LeClair gets hung up a little bit behind him. Now Holm able to close it back down a little bit. Really, there is not much in it between our top five. And now Holm has a carrot dangling in front of him, and he so desperately wants to go get LeClair, I would assume. I mean, not much you can do about the lag, I get it, but LeClair, who's raced with it for years, knows when it works in his advantage or his disadvantage, so clearly there kind of threw caution to the wind and just sent it into the back of Holm, and something happened to Prokop, and Holm just went down too. So Prokop coughs up the lead to LeClair. Holm goes down again, giving Prokop second. And very quickly, things have really shifted around, and LeClair just made a small mistake of his own. So now Prokop has closed it right back in again for the lead. Changing dynamic. This race is ever changing. Got 1 minute and 2 laps left on the clock. And Zach Prokop trying to go back after Alexis LeClair for the lead. Similar to Holm, maybe trying to force an error. Just keep him honest. And when those mistakes happen, they turn into fall-off crashes instead of just slight little bobbles or saves, because he's trying to push the envelope. He's trying to keep the gap steady, not let someone get to him. Oh, and then Prokop slides it out. Oh, and then he gets ran over by Andrade, who was a lap down. And that just ruined Prokop's chance at LeClair, I would assume, as Holm went back on by. And Holm, I don't think, is going to have a chance to get LeClair. This gap is too far out. And let's see, does LeClair get to the flag this time? Oh, this is going to be real close. 7, 8, 9, 30, and over the line at 30.1 or 30 and 1 second. So 2 laps to go. Unless the timing loop was a little bit off on my end and he did cross before 30. Would have been very, very close. Prokop has gotten back around Holm, so another mistake out of Holm. These two just cannot figure it out, it seems. Talking so much about the forced errors. These guys trying to make LeClair think about it, and instead, all they've done late in this race thus far is make mistakes of their own, and it's really cost them a chance at maybe a victory today. So Holm trying to minimize the damage here. At the moment, his 26-point lead entering would be down to 18 points exiting. If he can get around Prokop, he keeps it at 20. But obviously that is a big if, because Prokop has ridden so well here today. And honestly, had a late shot at getting Holm in the first moto to make this thing even worse for the 27. So he survived that challenge. Now this time he is the challenger. And the defender, Prokop, wants to hang on for second if he can. White flag will be coming out this time by. Oh man, Holm has got the bit between his teeth here. He is really putting the pressure on the 38 of Prokop as they come down by the mechanics area. 1 lap left to go. Second place overall on the line. Prokop a mistake. Holm nearly pulls alongside as they go over the finish line jump. But Prokop is able to hang on. Working their way up to the top of the hill. Inside, far inside for Holm. Middle out of Prokop. And they're trying to get set up for the Ride 365 table. Look at Holm scrubbing it down, staying a little bit lower. Does he have a move? No, he doesn't. Prokop able to swoop in from the outside. Cuts back down to the inside again and holds the position. Different split of lines here. Inside for Prokop, outside for Holm. And then Prokop wisely takes the line away from Holm at the top of the hill and goes far inside. Seems like Prokop just trying to use insides everywhere, although this time he goes middle. Oh, and Prokop, a mistake, Holm through. Not over yet, side by side up the hill. And Prokop hangs on. Holm, a small mistake, has lost a bit of ground as well. It's crazy to think that they're not right there on LeClair, but LeClair has just been wisely putting in a late cruise control type of ride. Just stay on 2 wheels. A late crash here would be very costly for the 1. And gotta avoid downed rider Caden Speck right there. But brings it down the hill one last time. He's gonna go by the mechanics area. A little bit of celebration, of course. And how about it? 1-1 performance on the day. Pulls the points closer. Alexis LeClair has won the RFGP of Portugal. Huge whip over the finish line once again in celebration. Prokop hangs on for second. Gets second overall. Holm will end up third. And it's an 18-point lead in the championship for Holm over LeClair going into next week. Wow, oh wow. Blakely looks like he is going to have 5th under wraps. Wow. By the way, Colton Mitchell ended up 3 seconds behind Holm at the end. He only lost the race in total by about 12 seconds, so he got this thing pretty close at the end. Credit where credit's due. Colton Mitchell, fantastic moto. And Blakely, once again, top 5 for life, man. This guy just puts in rides like no other week after week. One of these days, man, he is going to break through, go 1-1, and it'll be fully expected. All right, so there it is. Blakely crosses 5th. 6th right here. Will Whiteley should, if he can keep it on 2 wheels, get 6th. So 7th, Ash Steering. 8th, Cohenauer. 9th, Dupuis. How about it? Tell him to get top 10. He gets 9th. And 10th, Donovan. 11th was Andrade. 12th for Dallaire. 13th, Wilson. 14th, Haley. 15th, Smith. 16th, Speck. 17th, Howard. 18th, Holm. 19th, Hockey. And 20th was Rob. Let's wait for our last runners to get across the line here. Looks like it might be Sean Smith in 15th. That's still coming across here. Yep, last guy out there on the 222. Blowing by the mechanics area is the 222. And into the finish line he comes. Sean Smith will give us those cuts that we've been desperately craving. Jack Haley gets Wilson on cuts for 13th. And that was it. Alexis LeClair wins the RFGP of Portugal. And that has been all for us here at Agueda in Portugal on SYS TV. Thank you so much again, guys, for joining us here. Another week of RFGPs. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for the High Point National in MX Simulator. For Kellen here on Starter Systems and all of us, we'll see you guys then. So long for now.